Hey, board gamers, BJ from Game Gumbo here, back in the Gumbo pot, unboxing a very tiny little game, Ptolemy. This is a two-player game with absolutely gorgeous cover art. I was turned on to this game by my buddy Nick from the Austin Gamers. I was looking for a two-player game to play with my son Matt. He loves those kind of games. And when we checked this out on the website at Tanuki Games, where they import Japanese and Korean games, and you can get them after they do their bulk orders, this one just looked fantastic. It's a designer who's got a pedigree. It's a tough game to find, but he also did that Jekyll and Hyde two-player game. I haven't played that one yet, but it's one that's been on my radar. But this one, I love the theme, the astronomy theme, and I love the artwork. Let's get right to that Game Toppers LLC table and see what's inside this tiny little box. All right, Ptolemy is set up and ready to play. It's a two-player ladder climbing card shedding game, but you only play one card at a time. It's got absolutely gorgeous art. Look at these little cards. There's just kind of whimsical versions of all 5 of the planets that are involved in the game. Basically, these are suits, of course, with each one of these represented by a different planet. We're going to divide the deck, depending on whether you're playing the basic or the advanced game. It's a certain number of cards. And then the players will take turns. And what they're trying to do is win 2 out of 3 games. To win a game, you just have to get rid of all the cards in your hand by playing one card at a time. But there's a couple of twists. When you play a card, the first player that plays a card is going to kind of set what that role is going to be. So the first player starts the rally, and that's what they call it, and then takes the corresponding planet token that matches that card and places it on the board. There is an eclipse board here. It's going to come into play later. But on that first play, they just count 2 spaces, that's the number that's represented on the card, from the bottom in the sunlight and place the token. The next player is going to follow. But to follow, it's one of those games where you can't play the same card. So they would have to play a different card. And not only that, they have to play a card that's going to get them higher in the sky. Not necessarily a higher card, just higher in the sky. So let's say they decided to play the Saturn card. The Saturn token would then come into play. But in a unique twist, you don't count the spaces that have tokens on them already. So the Saturn card would cause this token to go 1, 2, and 3 up. Since this Saturn card caused the Saturn token to be placed higher than the previous card that was played, the Jupiter card, see where it is, then that's a legal play. If the opposite had been played, if the Saturn card had been played first, and then we tried to play the Jupiter, well, that would still be okay. But let's say the Jupiter was here. That wouldn't work because the Jupiter card didn't raise the Jupiter token higher than the Saturn. We're astronomers, and we're trying to compete. The two of us are trying to compete to show Ptolemy a better proof of how the planets move around in the solar system. So that's kind of the theme of the game, but it's really abstract with some beautiful art. So the game keeps going back and forth until somebody has to pass. And obviously, somebody will play the Mars token, and that'll push that up to here because that one's higher than the previously played card, the Jupiter card. We keep going until one person passes. Since there's only 5 different planets, someone's going to pass usually after 2, 3, 4, or 5 cards. When that happens, the tokens stay on the board, but the cards get wiped, and the next person plays the person that passed turns over the starting player to the other player. And then that player gets to play. And of course, it's an open board. They can play any card they want to because no planet has been played. In the advanced game, it works a little bit differently. When you play it and you pass, depending on what kind of cards you play, you might draw cards from the side deck. And we've been playing mostly the advanced cards, but I'm kind of showing you the basic game here. So we're trying to get rid of all of our cards. We've got a number of them gone now, going back and forth. And then at some point, we'll have these eclipse cards in our hands. In the advanced game, these are the ones that will come from the draw pile along with any cards that have been used. In the regular basic game, they're just mixed in with your cards. The eclipse cards will work a little bit different. You can play an eclipse card, and that's going to switch positions between the eclipse and the planet that has been laid. So long as it conforms to that rule of always going higher than the previous planet. Of course, this is a first card, so there's no planet on the board. You could do that. But if, say, the planet had been Mars, then this one would not be a legal play because the Saturn would actually switch with the eclipse and go lower than bars. But let's say the eclipse was over here, and I didn't have a card in my hand that could get me higher than that Mars token. Well, then I could play the eclipse, and I'm going to switch positions with the eclipse. And now I am higher than the Mars. So that's another way to get rid of your cards. I do like the advanced rule a little bit better. The advanced play allows you to break that rule of playing more than one card. For instance, if somebody had played the Mars card and then moved it, and then we decided, well, all I've really got is a Mars, and I can't go higher than what none of these cards are going to let me go higher than that Mars token. You can follow by playing that same Mars card. Let's say we'll play a different Mars card, maybe the 3. And as long as it goes lower, equal to or lower, it's always equal to and higher, or equal to or lower than where the position is, that card in this advanced version allows you to play that. We call that an intense investigation. That's basically we're focusing in on this one particular planet, and we're trying to really show Ptolemy, no, we want to focus in on what that Mars card does. So in this case, the first player would have moved the Mars card 4. I didn't have a card in my hand that could put any other planet higher than that. So I played the 3, Mars, and that moves it 1, 2, 3. It's now lower than the Mars was before. That's a legal play. My other partner, the person I'm playing against, they have to play another Mars card and keep it going lower. But that's what I wanted to point out on the board. Notice that when the planets rise, they actually come back down this way in this circular pattern. So the other player has to be careful that the card that they play isn't so large, or there isn't like a line of planets here, like this and like this, to where if they play too big of a card, it's actually going to go higher. And that's one of those little thinking things that happens during the game that you have to kind of plan for as you play. So we'll keep doing that back and forth until someone runs out of cards. In the advanced game, you actually end up getting more cards because every time you pass, you got to draw a card, and every time you pass after an intense investigation, you got to draw 2 cards. So the game might last a little longer, but games don't last more than 20 or 30 minutes. And then once someone gets rid of all of their cards first, that means they score a point, and the best 2 out of 3 is the winner. And that's how you play Ptolemy. All right, so that was a quick unboxing. It's a tiny little box, but I'm super interested in this one. 2-player game. Me and Jared like playing 2-player games. Me and Matt like playing 2-player games. Me and Snow Bunny like playing 2-player games. This one fits right in our alley. So take a look. Hopefully we'll be streaming this on our Twitch Tuesdays channel. That's right, twitch.tv/BoardGameGumbo, where we play your games live on Twitch. Until then, laissez les bon temps rouler.